Hello and welcome to the next episode of Pixel Reacts, the Pixel Parent show that brings you our thoughts, reactions and takes on the biggest gaming events, releases and moments out there. I am your host Liam Kelvin, and of course I'm joined by Scott, the Tastemaker Curry. Say hello, Scott.
He's on. What if I don't want to say hello? What if I don't want to say anything? Jesus Christ.
An oath of silence.
But hello there. Hello there, Switch fans. How are we all feeling? Yeah, we finally got here, Liam. We finally got to, record the podcast after many technical difficulties and take 42 of the intro.
Mm-hmm.
And, we've made it to April 2nd. And we've now watched the Switch Direct, so I'm keen to delve deeper into it because, that's what we're all wanting to do, innit? Delve deeper into the bibbles of this Direct and see what's happening.
That's it.
And how are you?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm very happy after the Switch 2 Direct, and that's of course what we're here to talk about. The Nintendo Switch 2 Direct was today, as you've mentioned. So I suppose the best thing to do, Scott, is just to dive right in. What did you make of the show overall? We'll get into the specifics, but overall, what was your general feelings on that very special Direct?
I think my feelings and opinions of it have been tainted since watching it, but as of 3 o'clock when that show finished, or maybe up till 2:59 when the show finished, I was like, this is a 10 out of 10 show. It's great. Like, it does exactly what you want from these shows, where you just see games and you see gameplay, and it's less about all the geek in between. And then it just ended. It's like, thanks for watching, and it like doesn't tell anyone about the price.
Yeah.
And now we know why. But I think without that, without that thought, I was thinking this is 10 out of 10. It's absolutely brilliant. Like, this is exactly what I wanted. So
yeah,
I was pleased with that. But since then and now all we know about it, it's kind of been ruined. So there you go.
Well, I'll be intrigued to pull on that thread as we go. For myself, I mean, I'm kind of with you. Like, I would give this a 9, and my own score would be a 9 for it. Not perfect, just because it was that awkward end. It didn't quite stick the landing with the price. We were all kind of joking, is this free? This is why we're here. This is your one shot, and you've made us do homework for it. And we all had to kind of wait on, the hardcore gamer sphere to be kind of, we found it here, myself included, to be like, here's the price. And I don't know, it felt just a little odd, despite the content of it being so good.
Makes no sense. Like, why would you go through the whole process of explaining, what the chat button is, or what, all the games that exist on this console, how you upgrade other games, and then the only thing that people actually really care about and want to know about is how much it costs. And they just be like, we're not actually going to tell you that though. Like, in my head, I was thinking they're just going to put it on the app tomorrow. Like, this is this new app's function, is it just going to drip feed us all this news and stuff? But
do you know,
I kind of agree with you.
I actually have forgotten about that app, and you're 100% right in the sense that, looking at it just now, what has the app got to say for itself?
I checked it immediately afterwards, and it didn't have anything on it, because I was thinking, like, maybe they would say, check the Nintendo app for more information on it or something like that, but
it's got a pretty funky little 3D view thing going on the side of it for the Switch 2. There is one hilariously just of the screen without the Joy-Cons attached to it, so just this big flat panel. But yeah, it was, I don't know, it wasn't a bad one at all. Like, I walked away feeling positive and excited for the Switch 2 for what I'm wanting out of it, and it looks like it's going to deliver on that, but we'll get to discuss that as we go through. I think probably instead of waiting to the end, I think for this one, let's start with the price and the console features, and then we'll talk through the beats of the show. Of course, the main thing why we're all there is the launch date and the price. That's really it. Before anything else, before the discerning part of your purchase decision comes into effect. And we got them both, kind of. So we got 50% of that. And that was the launch date, of course, which I'm scrolling through. I believe it's the 5th of June.
June 5th, yeah.
June 5th, which isn't that far away. 2 months. No.
Shocked. I was shocked when they did announce, June 5th. I was expecting July at least, but a nice shock to get, just 2 months to save to save a few £100 for this console if you're daft enough.
Or a few more hundred, depending on where you live. And of course, the price, Scott. Now, I'm going to ask you a favour because I don't have it to hand. Whilst I confirm the UK price, could you just get a confirmation on that US price as well, just for comparison?
Oh, for Pete's sake, I just went and got the UK price. You bastard. Right, give me a minute. I'll get the US price for it, but I'm pretty sure that it was, quite significantly more than what we were looking at here. Nintendo Switch US price. I'll be able to get it for you momentarily. It's difficult though because a lot of people came out all at once, and we had different prices for different things. So the official US price for just the base console, $449.99 US, and for the Mario Kart bundle, I've got $499.99.
Oh, right, okay. So in comparison, the UK price for once is less. So it's £395.99 for the Switch 2 standalone, or it's £429.99 with Mario Kart World bundled in. Spoiler alert, they announced Mario Kart World. So yeah, they're pretty, I don't really know what else to say other than, when the turkeys voted for Christmas and they get Christmas. Yeah, it's my dad always says to me, it's tough at the top. For the first time, I felt I really did feel for the US consumers in that regard, because you could see it wash over Blue Sky. The people that are clearly not that way aligned, thinking, this is crap. Like, why are we having to pay extra for this? And it's the steep price hike that's coming for them, probably as of the 3rd, I think it is, 3rd of April. And this isn't going to get political, but when you start to see it impact as well, all the forecasters had said specifically on video games, quite the old shock. I think I'd seen someone today saying if you wanted to get a Switch 2, all the accessories and 4 games on it, you're paying more than $1,000 at launch.
Outrageous.
Wild.
But I mean, there's a few accessories on there that, they might as well be Xbox Connect at this point.
Yeah.
However, we'll obviously get to that, but
we'll get to that.
It's just scary. Like the price, we talk about it a lot on the main podcast, but the price of video games now is astronomical in comparison to when we were kids.
Oh yeah.
And there's absolutely no comparison on it anymore. If this was a PlayStation or an Xbox, though, there would be more said about it. I think the fact that it's Nintendo, it almost kind of feels like you're getting a hall pass a wee bit.
Yeah, I mean,
but for what you're getting from Nintendo, like it's. I don't myself think it's justifiable, but it's still cheap enough. It's still cheap enough that I think it's fine, right? But there's also a part of it. It's like, it's not just the console you're having to pay more for now. You're paying more for games and stuff as well.
That's the part which I think we'll get a chance to come to, because it kind of gives the game away a wee bit, no pun intended. Mm-hmm. For me, the pricing of it is smack bang where I thought it would be. I'm surprised that obviously it's the classic marketing trick where they just want you to go for that bundle. With Mario Kart World
of it as well, though.
Exactly. I feel like they're deliberately trying to push consumers onto a digital footpath now instead of physical, which I'm not surprised by. But me walking into it, I remember skeeting about this, saying I think it's going to be late, but $399 for this. Anything over than that would have been a scandal for the console, because I'm like, you're not paying more than an Xbox, you're not paying more than a PS5 for this, because it's just not as powerful. But we understand that the world economic situation is an absolute midden, so we kind of have to go in with the best of hope and intentions. And for me, I was like, it feels fair for this side of the pond. If I was in the US, I'd be really thinking twice, because it's like, well, I could buy the Switch 2, or if I was that way inclined, I could go get a fully souped out Steam Deck, or I could maybe just hold off for the Xbox handheld that might be coming this year, because if that's the experience you're wanting, unless you're like the diehard Nintendo fan, really, you're like, I think anything, once it starts with a 4 for just a standalone console, I'm expecting a much more premium product in line with a PlayStation 5. So I was pleased, to be honest with you. I think the power, and I was quite surprised at some of the specs of the console, which I think we could get into in a moment. but I was quite pleased by that. But let's get into the run of the show now, Scott, because we're now at the point where we're going to have to start talking about what's in there, because it's to give that context. So the show, of course, kicked off with a PEGI 18, which I was like, oh, set the tone for me right away. So, like, here we go, Nintendo, grown up. And they opened the show with Mario Kart World, which was teased, and the kind of general teaser announcement a couple of months ago. And that will be launching on the same day as Switch 2. A few little things about there, which was really surprising. It looks slick and polished. The fact that it's going to be a Switch 2 exclusive, and you're going to have basically races that go throughout the globe, is what they're saying. So you can drive anywhere off the racetrack, drive next to the next course as part of the competition. You're going to have 24 racers, biggest ever for the season.
Yeah.
It looks absolutely insane. It looks like what the series needed in terms of like give us a reason.
Yeah, reason to play it. I think for me when I was watching it, it's kind of pushing to more towards like a single player market rather than a party game now. Like it feels like Mario Kart is no longer the game that you play at family parties or only when you've got people around. This is a game that you could play all the time, and it will want you to do that. I like the wee additions of different driving types now. Like Mario Kart 8 was good because you had like I'm kind of with the weird kind of boosty sort of hoverboardy things, and you obviously flew and stuff like that as well. And you had like the kind of cars would go underwater and stuff, which obviously Mario Kart has done forever. But with this, now you're seeing cars like grinding, and they've got wall jumps and wall rides and stuff like that as well. So they're adding more to it. It's got boats in it now, like Mario boats. Which is cool.
More could we ask for? I mean, I was really pleasantly surprised because I think Mario Kart I'm always going to turn up for, right? And I know I'm going to simp for Nintendo on a lot of things, but I was also thinking I don't want it just to be Mario Kart 9 and just another set of tracks. And this at least adds that little bit of differentiation to it. I know what you mean. It's kind of like the Fortnite-ification of it all, like this giant world with the different little pockets of biomes that you can go in between. The fact that it's a 24 racers and they're trying to build that kind of more online focus around it. It did look cool. Like, I like the idea of this knockout mode. So like you kind of go in between those courses, and if you fall out that top 8, you don't make it to the next round. So it kind of adds almost a slight hint of battle royale,
like a battle royale to it,
which is pretty cool. And then of course the free roam. Like I could honestly see myself just sitting there chilling, just going in between.
That's what
I
was saying. See that free roam part alone is just like. It shows the ambition of what they wanted to try and do. Like they could have just stuck to the guns and made Mario Kart 9 and just made it, Mario Kart 8 with a new kind of coat of paint on it. But Freedom was, I think it's a really cool idea. And the fact that you can do that you could do it by yourself, but if you've got mates and stuff like that are playing it as well, then they can do it with you at the same time. It's pretty cool. Like I was showing my daughter earlier on and she was buzzing about it.
Yes, that's the acid test, mate. I did the same.
Yeah.
Did the same. Showed both the kids it, and they were really excited. And they were asking, "Oh, are you going to get that?" And I'm like, "Yes, of course." But it's the fact I was thinking exactly about that. Like that, we are the kind of target audience, right? Parents with kids, and then kids with parents. And this launch is a big deal for the podcast, I suppose, in the sense that we're going to have a lot of our listeners that will be interested for either themselves or for the wee ones. And we know ourselves, if you give Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, I give it to my son to play, and he's in 50cc and he's like driving backwards and stuff, and he ain't winning the race. He's not worrying about blue shell strategies and all that. Put him in free roam, still getting that experience. I think it's a great idea. Yeah, I'm really excited for it.
100%. Like I can just imagine handing my daughter the controller as Princess Peach and just letting her go on her way, because that would be it. Like she'd be done. The one thing I would say about it is that it doesn't see like the characters and stuff. I don't think they looked much different to what Mario Kart 8 offered. Like I think that art style and stuff like that, it doesn't look wildly different, but I don't think it had to. Like I think that Mario Kart 8 is gorgeous in its own right. My biggest concern, Liam, and it's a concern that I think you'll share, is that we've not heard anything good about the soundtrack yet.
I know. Is it going to be that band returning from Mario Kart 8? Because that's what we need. The bar was set.
You cannot have anybody else but that. Like,
man, Mario Kart 8 soundtrack is honestly, it doesn't get enough respect. It is outrageously good. But I will say there's a Mario Kart World Direct on the 17th of April at 2 p.m. here in the UK, which I'm looking forward to watching, even though it's like, yeah, it's Mario Kart. I'm intrigued to see what that free roam aspect looks like. They talked about the seasonal weather, time of day impacting the gameplay, which is really cool.
Yeah.
I think they've put a lot of love and attention into this.
Put a lot of that. Yeah, exactly. I'm excited to see how they integrate, like, obviously Mario Kart 8 introduced, like, you know, Link and stuff like that into the game as well. Like, I'd be interested to see if they're going to do anything like that again. Like, if we're going to see, you know, King K. Rool and Mario Kart Worlds, you know?
Yeah. I mean, you're right. I think I'm excited to play it. I'm excited to play it with yourself. I'm excited to play it with the wee ones as well. It seems like such a slam dunk to launch the console with. But yeah, that's the first thing that was on there. So we'll move on quickly because there's a bit in the show we've got to get through. Then they finally, in terms of pacing, I thought this was good. It's like, right, here's the lead game, and then we're going to go quickly into the new features of the Switch 2. So this was the part for us hardware nutters out there. It's like, what's under the hood? So we've got some details here for you, pleased to say. So the Joy-Con 2, the sequel to the Joy-Con, funnily enough, it has the C button, which a lot of, like, you know, humdrum was made of this online. I'm looking at it saying, it's a button with a C on it. And we finally know what it's for, Scott. It is the chat button, effectively, where you can talk, share screen, pull up a chat menu, quickly mute yourself for this new feature called Game Chat, where you can communicate with your pals whilst playing a game on the mic. The mic can pick you up from a distance, even in a noisy environment. It's got noise cancelling stuff, and it's using the microphone on top of the dock. I don't believe it either, but we can put it to the test. You can even chat through different games. So there's like a small screen with other gameplay, which looked choppy as all hell. That's all.
Oh my God. Like, see if you're going to show something like this off, why this footage? Like, you could have made it so much better.
Aye.
I guess the only thing you can say is that at least they're being honest about it. Like, at least they're being honest about how fucking terrible it's going to look.
Oh, I mean, it didn't look great, I have to admit. It was the icing on the cake for this, because they kept on showing more, and that didn't look great, Scott. But then they introduced the new accessory, which is the Switch 2 camera, which effectively gives you that kind of streaming-esque potential to kind of appear on the screen during your video chat. But I looked at this, and the first thing that came to mind was the Game Boy camera. It had this look about it. It felt so Nintendo, not the best quality, but it had this weird charm. I can't really describe it because it looked arse. It really did.
It's funny you should say that, because word for word what I wrote here was, it's good to see Nintendo embrace online functionality, but God, it's still so fucking Nintendo to be this bad. It's like, why does it have to look this shit?
Yeah.
Like, we've got to a point now where technology is actually good. Like, even bad technology is good, but they still managed to make it look as if your fucking camera quality is like a Nokia 3310.
It really does,
so
man.
Pish.
It makes
so annoying.
Makes the Blair Witch Project look like 4K, man. Like, it was, but I should say it's available on launch, the accessory, if you want to go down that route. I have, in terms of a price, that's going to set you back $49.99 as well. It looks very strange. It's just
and the thing with it is that it doesn't just function as, you know, a glorified streaming setup. Mm-hmm. It does have functionality in games as well.
That's true.
Which we'll talk about with the next game, which, you know, is interesting, but you have to have a long, hard look at yourself if you're buying this thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, you have to be like, fucking...
That is the one for me. If you're like the mega hype Nintendo fan on day one, it's like, I'm getting this, I'm getting launch games, I'll get this, I'll get that, and you just buy everything. Like the Mug Punter. I don't see this being... Could be famous last words, but I just don't see this being popular. Just because it looks a bit clunky. If they're trying to target this in a living room setup, I just don't see it, and I don't think it's going to really be for the hardcore gamer setup that is streaming, because they'll want better quality. They'll probably buy a different camera and use a capture card, etc. So,
no, you're right. You're right. It just screams Kinect to me. Like that. It's the Nintendo's Kinect. Yeah. Like, they'll shoehorn it into other titles, and they'll obviously make games of their own. But at the end of the day, it's just going to fall flat in its arse. Come back to this fucking podcast if it doesn't see even like 2-3 years time, but it's the biggest thing that's ever to have existed, then come back to me on this. But I'll bet my arse on it.
My thoughts on it was that I felt that this was originally part of the console itself. You mentioned Kinect. I felt like that was it. And then the fact that it's only 50 quid, I felt like let's just separate it and make it a separate function, because I found it odd. Mm-hmm. They've made such a big deal about the game chat function. And I'm like, was this camera originally supposed to be in the box with it? It's kind of like the main gimmick of it, because they've dedicated a button to it. Like they're almost trying to reinvent that shared inclusiveness. It kind of feels
like, having a button for chat seems like a lot. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like it could have been a menu rather than a whole button of its own.
Yeah, because
I see what you mean.
If you compare the Switch 1 launch, where we're on rooftops together and everybody's like, oh, let's get it in tabletop mode and play things together, to everybody's being in an individual living room. It shows you how times have changed, not only post COVID-19, but also in terms of gamer habits from 2017. Mm-hmm. And I think they are. There's just a part of me, and you'll never ever get the story, but there's a part of me thinking, I bet you this was the original kind of pitch for this console, to like almost bring the outside world into your living room, and everybody can sit together and see faces and that connection and all that shit. So yeah, but if you want to use it, Nintendo Switch Online is required for game chat. However, there is a welcome offer on until the 31st of March 2026, which I thought was pretty cool. And they've also added the parental control app, which is really cool as well. So you don't have to worry if people are just like chatting with nonsense on Nintendo Switch 2. So you can kind of cut that out straight away. Next up was a new feature called Game Share. Now this one I was really excited about, which is effectively you can play local games together using one Switch 2. So even with an old Switch, up to 3 should I add as well. So with any compatible games, there'll be 51 at launch, and there'll be more selected Switch 2 games in the future. So what I got from that is that, say if Mario Kart World's compatible, I could use the Game Share function to play with my son on the original Switch, and we can both play that together just using one copy, which I'm like, damn. And I'm sure the DS had something like this. I could be wrong.
I'm pretty sure it did, in the past, But
that one I felt was like, yep, no, that's a really, really clever little addition on Nintendo, because you think about it, other parents, other families will be buying this and they'll be in the exact same situation as what I'll find myself. There's the old Switch and the new Switch. And this way you can still integrate it and make sure that the new Switch doesn't get covered in, what's-its or sticky things or whatever, do you know what I mean, that the kids do, chocolate. So you can kind of protect it that way. But there could be households out there where there is like 3 Switches kicking about, and this way that there's still a usability case for it. You don't have to, just chuck rid of it. And for me, it's making sure Nintendo, I think, are trying to target the trade-in market a little bit. And they're just trying to be like, nope, still use that. We're going to view that as an accessory for this new console, another reason for you to buy in, so you don't feel like you have to start again, which is the recurring theme that I'm kind of getting from this anyway. Should I do a big dump of the other specky things here just now?
Oh, take a big dump all over us.
Right, okay. Good Lord. So there is a bigger screen. It's 7.9 inches. Oh my. It's the same thickness. Oh my. As the Switch one. You've got a HD display with double the pixels of the original Switch. So it's a 1080p screen as opposed to a 720 screen. There's 120 frames per second support on supported titles. Jaw-dropping if you ask me. The big question, the elephant in the room, finally confirmed. It's an LCD HDR support, not an OLED screen, but it is a higher brightness LCD. It looks pretty gorgeous, to be fair. The Joy-Con 2, they connect magnetically through, you just release them by pressing the release button at the back. The SR and SL buttons are bigger on each Joy-Con as well, so if you are using them individually with larger sticks, and of course, the mouse control was confirmed, so each Joy-Con can be used as one, and I was surprised to see that there wasn't some accessory add-on to enable that, just right at the box, so you can just stick it in the side and use it as a mouse. Something I can tell you right now, I will probably do in day one and never do again.
It just seems like a pure pain in the ass. Like, uncomfortable to do.
Could you imagine me doing that? Shrek-cons?
Yeah, I can. I can imagine you doing it. You love all that shit.
Oh God, no.
Mouse gaming. Unless they sell an add-on table where you can use it as a mouse table, then I'm not interested.
You've just given them probably a very lucrative idea there. one just to sit on your knee, just a mouse rest.
There you go.
There you go.
Telling you.
Me Nintendo logo, customize
it. It straps on.
That's a Nintendo strap on. That's all we need. Yeah, so they also had mentioned a few other things and improvements. So there's better audio in handheld mode. So the speakers actually have got improved audio, which is cool. Built-in microphone, as we mentioned before, with that noise cancelling feature. They've added 3D audio with headphones on the supported games. The kickstand, which looked pretty good, is larger and sturdier. We've got a glimpse of this beforehand, but I like the fact that you could actually just lower it. So it does actually have much more flexibility compared to the last one, which fell off all the time. There is 2 USB-C ports, one on the top and one on the bottom of the console, so you can actually charge it in tabletop mode now, which is great. And you've got 256 gigabyte of internal storage, which I was very impressed by. So it's 8 times that of the Switch. And the dock.
Need to embrace the digital future, Liam. That's how we do it.
They do, but it was great to see because I was going into this thinking they'll give us like 10 gig of storage and they want us to go buy more. The new dock, which is the new dock, has some ass. It's got some booty.
Yeah.
It's got 4K support.
Thick.
With that HDR also supported in TV mode, and it's got that fan ventilation built into it. Henceforth, the booty. So it's to keep the console cool. And it can also play compatible Switch 1 games. So there is backwards compatibility, as they've mentioned before. But I think there's not all of them. It's not wholesale. I think there's a select list. All in all, of that big dump of spec there, what was your overall take on the hardware, Scott?
It's what I think everything is what you've come to expect from what Switch 2 should be. I think the 1080p and 120 frames per second is probably the biggest shock, to be honest with you. But it's Nintendo. Do you know what I mean? Like, how many of those games are going to be pushing that? How many of them are going to look like they're pushing that? Do you know what I mean? Like,
well,
it's a tough one, but I'm sure we'll find out in the future. However, but yeah, it just looks exactly what you'd think that, and has everything you'd expect that Switch 2 should have. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I would agree. I think you looked at it, there's a few other things on top of it, like, and this is because it's very much an iteration, this console here, which I'm not against. The game card, for example, it's the same size in that as the OG. Didn't say how it would taste,
red.
So we've got to
figure
that out. It's true. I wonder if it's more bitter or hopefully not sweet, because then we've got some lawsuits. They have changed, so you can't do expanded storage on it, but it's now a micro SD Express cards, so that's different. Just because it's faster.
They fucked us over with that.
They have, and they ain't cheap.
Nintendo.
I think they were about $49.99. I seen on the Nintendo site as well, which is great. Didn't see how much storage that gets you. Probably bugger all. There is a data transfer option, so you can transfer your data from your original Switch by logging into your Nintendo account, which is pretty interesting. So I don't know what kind of wizardry is going on there, but I'd be kind of keen to find that out, how it works on day one. Thing is, I was most excited about, Scott, as I've mentioned before, I am cursed with large hands, right? The big, clumsy fucking spades. And they did reveal the new Pro controller, which looks sleek. And it's got new back paddle-like buttons that you can basically customize the input on, just tucked right underneath the main handle on each side, which is, I think, it's the GL and GR buttons. I was very excited to see that. But the price, I think it was like 70 beans or something like that.
You can use, I think your old one's compatible with it. There was something that came out recently talking about the compatibility of it. And I'm sure that I saw that the old Switch Pro controller is still compatible with the new one. So,
I mean, it's
you obviously just lose the functionality of the
back paddles or the back buttons,
the C button and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm sure it was. I'll try and see if I can find it whilst we're sort of talking about it. But I'm pretty sure there was a list of all the different sort of the different things that
that
Switch had, and it did come through.
That's good news, because the original Nintendo Switch Pro controller is one of the best controllers of all time. Like, it's fantastic, and I think I've charged it once in about 8 years, and it's still got battery. Just keeps going, man. Just keeps going. I think it's solar powered or something, but I think the Pro controller, if it's not backwards compatible, it's not something I would look to get day one. I would probably, at first I was thinking, yeah, I do, but I'm like, actually, I want to see how I get on with the bigger Joy-Cons because I'm a believer.
Yeah.
And it's something that I might pick up later on. By the time like Metroid Prime 4 comes out, that's really when it's going to be like, right, okay. But it depends. I view this Switch 2 as something that I'm not going to play much in dock mode. It's something I'm looking at it purely as a handheld device for me personally.
Aye, it's exactly what it said there. So it can be used by pairing wirelessly to the Nintendo Switch 2 and can be charged by connecting it to the Nintendo Switch 2 dock via USB cable. So you can still use that. You can still use your old Joy-Cons as well.
That's amazing.
Can't be attached to. They can't be attached to the Switch 2, obviously. And then you can still use like the old NES controller, Super Nintendo controller, N64 controller, Genesis controller. You can't use the dock.
Damn it.
And yeah, that's pretty much it, to be honest with you. So at least if you don't want to shell out the money for a Switch 2 Pro controller, then you don't have to.
Well, fair play, Nintendo. That's fantastic. That's really good news, actually. Again, if you're in that kind of family household and you've got all these peripherals kicking about, there's nothing more heartbreaking than having to just chuck them all out and replace them all and get, let's face it, fleeced. You know, but yeah, they did say
they become pointless.
They do, but they did say after all that big dump of data and stuff, there's a website live after the show with a console FAQ, which you can get on the Nintendo website. They then confirmed the launch date, June 5th, and then we started to get into the more game types. So this was something that came up a few times in the presentation. So the 3 game types have been kind of shown off, which is Switch 2 games.
You missed something, Liam.
Oh, I did miss something actually.
The most important part of the show.
Are you talking about the Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour?
The Welcome Tour.
You're right. I'm not going to be sarcastic.
When I first saw this, I wrote Nintendo's answer to the Astrobot, and then we saw what it was. It's like this fucking fish.
I was all for this until I realised this is Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour was announced, which is a game. I was all for it until I realised that it's a paid-for digital title on launch. At first, I was thinking, oh, what? This is the kind of Wii Sports moment. It was a clever way to make an FAQ for a console, and they've gamified it. So basically, it's got lots of little mini games built into exploring. You play this tiny little dude that walks across the Switch 2, and they've basically packed in everything, all the secrets of the console. Why are the magnets there? What are the sticks? What's the mouse functionality doing? Apparently, it promises lots of secret Wii games, mini games to kind of take advantage of it. And I thought, wow, that's a really clever way to kind of get people introduced into the system. And then it was a paid digital title. You were so close to greatness.
So Nintendo.
Yeah.
I just wrote paid title. Who's buying this pish? Like, there's no need for it. Yeah. It's got daft wee things that you would find in, like, WarioWare or something like that. Yeah. But Wii games and stuff. But
unless it's like a tenner, I am not touching that. Hand on heart.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right though, because it looks clever. It looks fun. It looks like something I would want to engage with. But I'm not like spending money on that when you could put it towards like Mario Kart, for example. It's just not happening. It's not happening. Exactly. So thank you for reminding me on that. So we move on to the game types. So it was Switch 2 games. You'll have compatible Switch games and then Switch 2 Edition games, Scott, which are basically upgraded Switch games. So as we all expected, kind of like what PlayStation do with PS4 to PS5 versions, you can buy an upgrade pack for it, which feels like the most sensible way to do it. The first one they showed off was Super Mario Party Jamboree. Did that do anything for you, Scott?
Nope. Super Mario Party Jamboree never done anything for me in the first place. So a Switch 2 enhanced version of it isn't really going to set the world on fire.
It's not going to light your fire.
It kind of felt like it was enhanced just to kind of put functionality for the camera in, because this is where we saw a lot to do with camera games and voice stuff and mouse controls and stuff as well. So exactly what you would want. No, like, I think if you're going to push all these new functions of a Switch, then you want to have something like a Mario Party that does, take advantage of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not for me. I'm out.
Yeah, I'm with you in that. But if you are into Mario Party Jamboree, it is coming July 24th. and you can get it via upgrade pack, or you can just buy the Switch 2 version on its own, which is pretty cool. So they're giving you both options. They did then go on to reveal a few other Switch 2 edition games. So they start with the big boys here, Scott. Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are getting a Switch 2 edition, which is coming with enhanced resolution and frame rates, HDR, and a cool little Nintendo Switch app integration for Hyrule Notes, I think it was.
Let's put a pin on this for 1 wee second, right? In all honesty, Liam, are you ever going to use Zelda Notes, having to download a Zelda app or a Nintendo app to use Zelda Notes on your phone? Is that something you're ever going to use?
Being honest, absolutely not.
Exactly.
But
You've got it's got like a fucking like a GPS. It's got Google Maps on it. Like it tells you where to go and stuff like that. If you've set a marker on the map, it tells you which directions and stuff you can go.
I don't think it's targeted
ridiculous.
at somebody like myself who loved the game for its sense of exploration. But if you were like a kid, they just got given the Switch 2 and it's like, check this game out, and it's giving you that sense of direction. I can see the use case for it. It's just not me. But it is a gimmick. It's just something they've added on for the sake of like, oh, we've added this as well to kind of justify it not being a free upgrade, I feel. But I mean, the one biggest complaint of both those games was the choppy frame rate, was the resolution being a bit muddy. And I can't wait to see what that game looks like with an enhanced resolution and a better frame rate as well.
See from what we saw, like in 60 frames per second on the actual footage that we saw, it's like it looks weird. Like not weird in a bad way, but seeing it actually run smooth is like, what the fuck? Like how does it look this good? But yeah, that's literally all I took away from it, is that it kind of got to this point and I was thinking like these are what you want. You know what I mean? Like if you want any, I think people were talking about these not being, you know, there at launch or there soon after launch. Thinking they're going to take like kind of drip feed them to us, but they're putting out 2 of the biggest games on Switch, like day one with the Switch 2 at an enhanced fucking resolution and you know, frame rate and stuff like that as well. So it's phenomenal. It's great.
Fair play to them. And I think they'd be stupid to not do this day one, and I'm so happy that they have done it. It also eliminates what would be a really painful discourse for months. It's like, when they're going to do the next Switch 2 version of this game, Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom. The fact that it was both of them, I was delighted with, because I was expecting it to just be Breath of the Wild. But it's like, no, let's just do this. Let's get this out the road, draw a line under it, and move on. Speaking of which, the next one...
Because they obviously realised that Tears of the Kingdom was obviously a better game, so...
Well, it is. No contest. But yeah, they then moved on to show another Switch 2 edition game. So you had Kirby and the Forgotten Lands. They had Pokemon Legends ZA, which is going to enhance resolution and frame rates across the board. They also showed off Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. So the Switch 2 edition of that has mouse controls as well, which is very interesting to kind of tap out of that market. Shockingly, it has a 4K 60 frames per second mode and a 120 frames per second HDR mode. And all I remember writing in my notes here is wit. Like, I was not expecting that, but I'm so happy.
Why it's taking so long to fucking come out?
Oh, man, honestly, it's... Yeah, you must. If they can make a Switch 2 edition with these, like, kind of enhancements for the Metroid Prime trilogy, then yes, like, you must. You absolutely must.
I must? What?
Yes.
I must, or everyone else must?
Everyone must.
All right, that's good, because I've never played Metroid Prime, so...
Then you must, because it's the best game you've never played. So good. But yeah, they're all coming physical and digital, and if you already own it, you can just get an upgrade pack. Did not see the pricing on that, so I'm wondering.
Yeah, I thought a lot of internet rumours are talking about, you know, between £10 and £20, which is what you sort of come to expect.
That's fair.
I think there's a sort of discourse between whether or not it's $10 or £10 for like an upgrade pack that has new features, or $20 if it has new features or something. But I'm sure they'll find some other way to make it more expensive.
Aye, there are already signs of it being a very awkward and strange pricing model they've got. But we'll blast through at this point in the showcase. It's basically just games at this point. So they did then show off a new game with mouse controls. Drag X Drive, Drag by Drive. I don't know.
Something like
yeah, so it's like a cool little wheelchair basketball game. I was kind of impressed at how inclusive it is and just, you know, how simple it looks to play using the mouse controls. coming out in summer 2025. For me, I looked at it thinking that should have been the game they boxed in, because I'm like, nobody's buying that. I hate to admit it, but it's like, are we all going to be sitting there using it? It's just something to kind of show off the new feature with the mouse controls. And I thought, intuitive, use it to kind of, each side of it to kind of move the wheels along and then just lift up to throw the ball. And I'm like, you don't have to really do much more to kind of describe or sell that to me. But
I agree. I think I actually wrote that it looks like a fucking pain in the arse to play, like having to move the mouse controls across the table and stuff like that. And then I wrote,
just in general,
if you thought Joy-Con drift was bad already, then after you've played this game for a wee while, then you're fucking your Joy-Con's going to die.
Oh, good God! Well, it's coming summer 2025. If that sounds like something you want to do, and I should say, go check out all the trailers for all these online after you've listened to us ramble about it. But then we start to get some meat here, Scott, which is what we're expecting. Right, that's first party stuff. But what Switch 2 games are coming from partners? What was the first one that they gave us, Scott?
Elden Ring, the Tarnished edition.
Oh yeah.
Didn't look as good as what we've come to expect from Elden Ring, but if you're quite happy, if you're happy to play Elden Ring in handheld mode on a Nintendo Switch on the toilet, then this is the one for you.
This was the moment where I realised that Elden Ring is genuinely this generation's Skyrim, because we're getting this everywhere.
Yeah.
We're getting this everywhere, and I'm happy to have it. This thing is going to keep coming to consoles in 8 years' time, and as it bloody well should, because it's fantastic. Apparently there's new armour and weapons and stuff like that in this version.
That's because it'll probably have like Mario and Luigi armour or something like that.
Man, it's going to have a Hyrule, it's going to have some type of Hylian shield or something like that, isn't it?
Ganondorf mask or something like that.
Mate, just give me it all.
Why is that the only reason why it's called the Tarnished Edition? It's not like packaged in with Shadow of the Erdtree or anything like that.
I'm not sure. I'll need to go check and research that. I've did piss poor research.
I can tell you in a second. I'll try and find it now. Elden Ring Tarnished Edition includes the original game and Shadow of the Erdtree, along with new armor customization featured for Torrent's appearance as well. So you've got the main game, you've got Shadow of the Erdtree, new armor, and Torrent customization.
Well, there you go.
There you are.
I think I'm sure they might have did something similar when Dark Souls Remastered came. Like they had to do it's basically they were saying Switch edition.
I think so.
Let me see. Hold on. So next up we have Hades 2.
Hades 2.
What did I say?
Aye.
Come on. It had to be Hades 2. It's made for this damn machine.
It is, 100% made for it. It's more Hades and more 2. So,
looked fantastic when it showed off.
Yeah, it does. I'm just raging that people have been able to play it on early access for so long.
I know.
I'm just bitter about it now, so let's hurry up.
This is probably my most anticipated game on the Switch 2, and confirmed it for me. It's this is where I'll be playing Hades 2. I want the best of both worlds, and I'm there. They then went on to reveal Street Fighter 6 Fighters Edition, Year 1 and 2, coming on launch day. There's a lot here, so I'm just going to go through them all, because I don't think we need to touch too long on them. Daemon X Machina, Split Fiction, coming on launch day. Joseph Fares made an appearance, that lovely man. You had EA Sports confirming that FC25 and Madden NFL are coming to Switch 2. Hogwarts,
no footage of it yet.
No footage yet, which I'd be really intrigued to see if they're going to do what they did with the Switch version with the FC25, which was shocking.
Exactly what I thought.
Hogwarts Legacy is coming with mouse control support. Don't know how to fix that in. Coming on launch day. Then we've got Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 remakes. That's coming summer 2025. We then got Hitman World of Assassination Signature Edition, which is coming on launch day. More Hitman. But then, Scott, they went one better, didn't they? IO Interactive. What did they do?
Yes, they showed us. Well, they didn't show us Project 007. They basically just confirmed again that it's coming. And it's also coming to Switch 2.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll believe it when I see it.
In your eyes, it's still vaporware. I think, I must admit, shocked that they, out of nowhere, they decided, let's just chuck this in here. But it tells me that potentially when we start to go through the year now, because we're only really, start of April, we'll get next State of Play or another Xbox Direct, or we get to maybe Summer Game Fest, we might be seeing a bit more about Project 007, telling me that it's on the horizon, probably within the next year. I'd imagine we're getting this if they're going to start to talk about it that way, because I hate to say it, as much as I love Hitman World of Assassination, they have milked that thing dry. Like, if I see it one more time, I'm going to scream. But moving on, we then got Bravely Default Flying Fairy HD Remaster, it's a mouthful, coming on launch day. Yakuza 0 Director's Cut, also coming on launch day. And a game developed with Nintendo and Koei Tecmo Games, Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment, which is going to be all around the story leading into Tears of the Kingdom, coming this winter. Now, I was very excited for this, Scott, because I just thought, this looks intriguing. I never got round to Hyrule Warriors, the first one, shamefully. Came out at the wrong time, but this just looked fantastic. I don't know what it was. I'm like, yeah, I want to kind of go into the War of the Banishment and see what happened before Tears of the Kingdom.
I want to believe you on this, Liam. I really do.
You do? You want to fight with the Zone?
I honestly do not fucking see a world where you play this game ever. Like,
we shall see. We shall
man
see.
who's never played any Warriors games in his life. I did think there was a few moments in the gameplay of it where it looked rough as all hell. Like, I don't know if it was just the footage that I was watching or whatever, but it didn't look great. So I think that's sometimes a limitation of having 4 million characters on screen at the same time. And the Switch 2 just screaming for its life as you're trying to do it. But
Please kill me.
I was I wasn't too pleased at this point. This is the point where I was like, right, come on, fuck, let's just go into some good stuff here. And good grief, did they drop me some absolute motherfucking bombs
They did.
in this next segment?
Take it away.
Because we also got a little update on Nintendo Switch Online.
Mm-hmm.
My ears pricked up. It's like, ooh, what's coming now? We're getting
Still on Switch
GameCube.
2. Still on Switch 2.
Still on Switch 2. So we're getting GameCube only on Switch 2. Starting off with Zelda Wind Waker, which,
Beautiful.
is supposed to be getting remastered or remade anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But come on now. The real joy in the moment where I legitimately screamed out loud, Soul Calibur fucking 2
He's got it.
is
folks.
coming to fucking Switch 2
He's got it.
online. And I swear to God, Liam, am I going to spend £350 to play Soul Calibur 2 on the Nintendo Switch in handheld mode?
Yes.
Is this going to happen?
Yeah.
Probably. I need Voldo fucking scooting around this Nintendo Switch. I can't wait. They also showed off F-Zero GX, which, people are obviously going to be crying out loud for.
Oh yeah, F-Zero, man, all the way.
Yeah. And was there something else, or did I miss it?
Yeah, there was a few other titles they had announced, plus more will be added, but you had Super Mario Sunshine, Fire Emblem Path of Radiance, Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness, Super Mario Strikers. There are 2 more here. They had Chibi
Luigi's
Robo,
Mansion.
Plug Into Adventure, and Luigi's Mansion. And all of them are coming on launch day as well, which is pretty.
I didn't think they were coming on launch. I thought they were coming later. I thought the first few were coming on launch and then it was the other ones later. But am I wrong about that?
I think it's just saying more titles will be added to it.
All right.
But yeah,
Fair enough.
It's
It's just good to see them embrace the GameCube. Like,
yeah, and they also added another accessory to skin you with, which is a GameCube controller with wireless and the C button available on launch day, which I think might set you back about 60 quid as well. But that'll be available exclusively for Nintendo Switch Online members, which I like the fact that they do that, because it means that the scalpers can't actually access it without at least giving Nintendo some proof that they're a real life person. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm with you, man. Like, when I seen Soul Calibur 2, I was like, man, he is losing his shit somewhere, and I'm so happy for him.
I screamed so loud.
Oh,
it was disgusting. Like, people must have thought I was being murdered in my own house because genuine scream. But I'm buzzing for it, man. One of my fucking favourite games of all time. I just love it. But so Nintendo have now got this reputation of showing off old fighting games in every single one of these directs. It's like, the next one's going to be fucking Tekken 3. Do you know what I mean? They're going to randomly just have Tekken 3 show up.
Yeah, exactly. And do you know what? We'll be there for it. And I think the beauty of Nintendo Switch Online is that if they could expand it greatly, they've found a way to kind of circumnavigate emulation in a way, because that's really all it is. It's an emulator that you're paying for, but particularly with Nintendo games and that magic and the nostalgia they've got. Let's face it, we could download a pretty decent GameCube emulator, N64 emulator, allegedly, on our computers and just go at it. But there's something about like having it here and that crisp presentation, all housed within your console without the faff. Yeah, I'm there for it, man. Like, and I look forward to see what else. If they can get out some of the Rogue Squadron games somehow, I would be eternally grateful. Or just the original Metroid Prime. I'd be very, very happy to get that.
It makes it makes sense. Do you know what I mean?
So many bangers on the GameCube, and it was not not the most beloved consoles because it was going up against Big Daddy PS2. But yeah, I'm very, very happy with it. Remember the wee handle it had? It was great. So useless.
I love the wee handle. I loved it.
But yeah, then we'll move on. This part, this part almost gave me a nosebleed.
So many games.
This was basically, it's like, let's just stuff everything. So what I did was I wrote down as many as I could, and if there's ones I missed out, they ain't worth knowing. So they started off with the big ones. So Deltarune is coming, launch day to Switch 2. We're probably going to stop here for a minute, Scott, right? We then moved on. Somehow, Randy Pitchford walks out again on another presentation to announce that Borderlands 2 is coming to Switch 2 on launch. Now, why hasn't this man been cancelled? Like, seriously?
I think he has. It's just like Teflon. Like the man is uncancelable.
Is he like the Donald Trump of games? Is that what he is?
Aye. I think you could probably say that, to be honest with you. He's one of the most abhorrent people in video games, making one of the most abhorrent video games. Like, please just put Borderlands down and just let it go quietly.
If it was one of those things, I was like that, I was watching it, I'm like, I'm just not interested in Borderlands 4. And I thought to myself, I should be for this console. I should be sitting there thinking to myself, well, actually, I'll pick that up on this. It feels like it's a pretty good experience on the console, and it just did nothing for me.
Yeah.
That makes me so sad.
I want to say more stuff about Randy Pitchford, but I don't really want to give him the breath. So I'll just leave it there.
Yeah. Well, let's move on then. We then got a confirmation that Civilization 7 Switch 2 edition is coming on launch day. I'll absolutely be picking that up because I was really wanting to pick up Civ 7, hoping that would come in Game Pass. But it feels like something on the Switch, the handheld mode, fantastic. Then got WWE 2K is coming to Switch 2, as is NBA 2K. Survival Kids, Enter the Gungeon 2 coming to Switch 2. Starseeker Astroneer Expeditions coming 2026. We then got Cyberpunk 2077 Ultimate Edition coming launch day to Switch 2. Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade is coming to Switch 2, but I didn't recall getting a date. But
I didn't either.
Excited nonetheless. And will I pick it up here? Perhaps.
No. Why would you? Why?
Just you got to understand the pull of playing something like this on the kludgy. It is.
Oh God!
That was the reason why we all invested in the Switch. And do not tell me otherwise, because you're all liars, right? We all bought it to play Skyrim whilst dropping logs, right? That's what it was there for. So the dream is alive, people. Next we've got Kunitsugami, Hollow Knight Silksong.
Perfect Switch game. A fucking perfect Switch game, Kunitsugami, by the way. Made for it. But yeah, Silksong mentioned.
Hollow Knight Silksong 2025, Scott. They snuck that one in there.
The internet still fucking continues to weep. I was more excited about the next one.
Of course, yeah. Good Night Universe.
Oh no, sorry, I missed that one. Next one.
2 Point Museum.
I missed that one again.
Wild Hearts 2, 25th of July.
Sake. After that one.
Witchbrook.
There he is.
There we go.
Fucking here we go. I'm going to be talking about this game forever.
It does look like it's downtown Scott Curryville, this game.
Oh God, I'm going to buy a Switch just for this.
We look forward to the review of this. This was revealed last week at the Switch Direct. Puyo Puyo Tetris is also coming. Rune Factory, Marvel Cosmic Invasion, Star Wars Outlaws, Fast Fusion is coming on launch day. Shadow Labyrinth, Raido Remaster, No Sleep for Kadami, Reanimal 2025, Fortnite's coming on launch day, Arcade Archives, Ridge Racer, the new Professor Layton games coming this year, and Human Fall Flat 2 And then you're thinking to yourself, my God. And I missed out one or two games which just looked like anime as all hell games that were just chucked in there for the sake of it. Names, titles so large I could not write it down that fast. So yeah, they're there. At this point, this was just the tertiary stuff just getting dumped at you. So I'm like, okay, we know what to expect. But then they moved on to something, Scott, that we didn't expect. They blindsided us here. I'll give them this.
Yes.
They sucker punched us with a little From Software logo appearing on screen. And we were all losing our bananas as we thought.
It wasn't even the From Software thing to begin with. It was the initial sort of wee moment between the two characters that it was like, this is so quintessentially From Software that if someone else is making this, it's almost, copyright infringement.
It was the music, it was the strings.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
And then, From Software absolutely fucking drops the name, and then everyone's shitting their pants because you get to see all the environments and stuff of Bloodborne. It's like, oh my God, is this Bloodborne remade? Is this Bloodborne 2?
Uh-huh.
What is going on here? Have Sony dwelt on this for so long that Nintendo have just decided that they'll do it themselves?
We'll make
what is
our
going
own
on
one.
Here? What's happening here? But we got to see, mad gameplay, and then the name The Duskbloods. Yep. Only on Switch 2, coming in 2026.
Switch 2 exclusive. There is a multiplayer focus on it. Looks like to be some type of Elden Ring style open world in there. There was a dinosaur at one point. It had so much in common with Bloodborne.
I love the fact that the one thing you focused on was the dinosaur.
Yeah,
of course.
There's a dinosaur in there. It was like, if anything, they're going to chuck together an experience for the Switch 2. It tells me that they're, of course, serious about the console, and B, that this is something that will shift some systems for them, and not that they'll need that help, but it is a probably more in line, as you mentioned, with is it Night Rain that's coming out for Elden Ring? I'm intrigued to see how that's received.
Yeah, so I think that since the trailer, because I think the initial excitement for the trailer is great, but it was like an emotional roller coaster. Like, you're reading about, Duskbloods being this pure great experience, and then it's a PvPvE fucking multiplayer experience. It's like, just give me a single player.
Well,
you know what I mean?
More's going to get revealed about it in an article that's coming on the Nintendo website in 2 days, on April 4th.
Yeah, but it's been directed by, Miyazaki himself. So
yeah,
the man not interested in Night Rain, but making this for Nintendo seems to be the most important thing to be going down. So
yeah, and it looks like there seems to be some type of vampire focus of some sort in there.
I like that. I did like that. I like the sort of vampire thing. So we'll see.
Excited for it though. I'm always happy to see at least them getting to flex their creative muscle a little bit and do something different. Yeah, if anything, that should come as a shock.
With it being on Switch, they can get away with being more weird for some reason.
Exactly. I think if anything, that should hopefully jolt Sony into making Bloodborne 2. At this point, it's like, shit, that was close, guys. We need to get this out there now, make it happen. But yeah, more games will be coming. There was a final announcement that we thought was one more thing. Turns out not to be, but it's the kind of second to last more thing. Kirby Air Riders was announced. No, sorry. What was
Kirby Air Riders, aye?
Yeah, Kirby Air Riders is coming in 2025. Sakurai's back.
This, honestly, it looked so much like it was going to be Super Smash Brothers. I was almost fucking convinced that it was Smash Brothers, but then, nah.
Yeah.
Kirby Air Riders. Fair play to him, though. The man deserves it. He's wanted to make Kirby, so I'm dead.
Yeah, he's back in the saddle, doing that, bringing it back. So, yeah, I mean, it looked polished as all hell in terms of a reveal trailer goes. But then they did move on to the one more thing at the end, and at this point, I thought, is this time, Scott? Is the moustache plumber coming back for another round? And it wasn't, but I was still pleasantly surprised. It was Donkey Kong Bonanza, which is coming 17th of July this year. So we're 3 months away from that.
See, before we even go into anything to do with the gameplay or anything to do with this trailer, that is quite possibly one of the worst names ever. But
Bonanza.
I fucking love it. Like, it is so stupid.
Yes. Well, for
My
those,
God, I love it so much.
For those not really understanding, think the word bonanza, but it's banana, so it's bonanza.
Bonanza.
Like that, the play on words. It makes sense. Basically, it's Donkey Kong Odyssey. That's the only way I can describe this if you've not seen it.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I'm happy to see DK get the love. You know, I think I showed this to my son.
He needs it.
And he loved it. And I'll tell you why.
Mm-hmm.
The Mario movie. Like, the kids love Donkey Kong in that. And I feel like it's perfect timing to be like, do you know what? Let's build him up again. He's got some hype around him. He's been a mid-carder for a while. Let's start pushing him up to the main event, see how he gets
it's
on.
It's true, he's the Nintendo equivalent to Jey Uso at the moment.
Yeah, that's it.
Let him run with it. He's even getting his own theme park now.
That's
I
it.
agree with you. I do totally agree with you. I think that it's time. You know, like Donkey Kong fans have been crying out for Donkey Kong 64 in some way, shape, or form, and this will satiate that fan group. I do like the destruction and stuff like that in it. It's like, you know, Nintendo's knack. But you know, he obviously breaks down the environment and reading through some of the articles about the game, like he's doing that to travel to different zones and you can kind of explore different places, and that plays a big part in the actual storytelling of it, which is cool. I'm still not, and this might be a controversial opinion, but I'm still not totally convinced on the new design of him. I don't like his eyes. I feel like it's a bit. Yeah, I kind of feel like it's a bit too cartoony, but fair enough. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure over time I'll just get used to it, but it's just nice to see him. I'm just not happy about not having Cranky Kong on there, because
that we know of,
long Scott, Cranky.
That we know of, because I think that looks like that game's big enough to absolutely ram the whole cast in there. I wouldn't be surprised to see them there, but I think, yeah, I'm looking at it, I'm like, yeah, this makes sense. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's have this Donkey Kong open world type platform and adventure. Quite happy to take that on in Odyssey style. Excited for it. It's definitely one I'll pick up, and that kind of.
It also screams to me though that, you know, the next Mario game isn't going to be like Odyssey or anything like that. Like, the next Mario game is going to be a completely different experience, like the 3D world or something like that. It might go down that route again. Do you know what I mean? But I just don't think it's going to be this world sprawling thing that Bonanza is now. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, we'll wait to see, but that's the race in the hole now, and they don't have to release it all at once. That could be like this time next year. We're still talking about it.
Yeah,
you know, I think they'll want to get another 8 years out of this console, and yeah, this seems to be like, in terms of a launch lineup. I mean, I should say that at this point the show wrapped up, and we were all kind of thinking, what was the price? And obviously, we then had to do some digging and get that. End of show, we got the price. I've just got breaking news there from that big sweet potato grifter. He's announced a 10% trade tariff on imports to the UK, but it's having an impact on our chums across the pond. They're going to be tariffing, this is from Shinobi602 on Twitter, they're going to be tariffing products from Vietnam at a 46% rate, so that could heavily impact the Switch 2 pricing, potentially globally, because Nintendo have switched their production from China to Vietnam to avoid the tariffs. So there's going to be like a 34% tariff in China, 49% in Cambodia, 24% in Japan. Basically, that fucking numpty is going to make sure that everything's going to get inflated. So, yikes. Can't say you weren't warned.
That fucking numpty.
Aye. So I describe it. At this point, I'm just like, you know what? You give people enough chances. It's like, this guy's a fucking idiot and he'll destroy you. And I now just get to sit comfortably, buy a Switch cheaply, and watch that place absolutely fucking go tits up. So he's talking about, I'm like, what are you going to do? Make your own Switch? Be shite. that's basically
the Soldier Boy console, like
the
Soldier Boy fucking handheld.
Exactly. It's like, if you start putting up walls, nobody wins, but hey ho. And it all comes back to the pricing of the Switch, which the model of it has been received as you'd expect, because everybody's kind of, I'd say, confused and a little bit shell-shocked, because we've never seen this before. We've had the odd occasion where it's like, right, the euro price is a little bit different from the pounds, and the pounds and the dollar price is usually 1-to-1. So if it's like $4.99 there, it's $4.99 here. Not really used to kind of seeing it come out and be cheaper. But then Nintendo have announced a price structure following the Direct. So, excuse me, so like Mario Kart World be £66.99 digital or £74.99 physical. Donkey Kong Bonanza though will be £58.99 digital and £66.99 physical. You know, so Mario Kart World is effective, like to date, probably the most expensive game ever right now. Donkey Kong Bonanza's fallen just under what the normal price is of the £69.99. It's weird. You can clearly see that they're trying to make it more appealing to go digital and incentivize people to do it, because in both cases they're under the RRP of a PlayStation or Xbox game, or a PC game for that matter. It is making me wonder what to expect with Grand Theft Auto 6 on the horizon now. Beforehand, I was like, there's not a chance, but if Nintendo are literally just making up a price structure now, that's telling me that they may be worried about things like tariffs and the impact this is going to have globally, which isn't fair.
It's not fair, but it's the reality of the fucking world that we live in at the moment, isn't it? Like, run by fucking morons. So
run by morons.
Everyone else has to pay the price for it, which
it's shite.
Where we sit now.
Like they've plucked them out of thin air, much as economists do when they're talking about the economy, which is the big scary invisible monster. It doesn't exist. It's just used to justify shite decisions for people at the bottom. And yeah, it's shite because as gamers, we've talked about this before in the podcast, it's now increasingly not becoming a hobby that can be sustainable for certain parts of the working class, which makes me very sad, because it should not be the case. This should be a recreational hobby enjoyed by all. But if the prices of video games, that's where it starts, and then it starts to seep into all the other hobbies as well. I hope that we don't live to see this, and where it becomes where you become priced out of being able to enjoy a console launch.
I think you're saying, you're starting to see it. I think we're going to see it. I think that the next consoles, I'm excited to see what this Xbox handheld looks like and how much that's going to cost, because it's not going to be fun. I can't see it being cheap, but just fucking go and buy whatever you want. Buy a Switch 1.
Well, that's it. But I mean, there should.
The thing is, the base Switch, the base Switch 2 doesn't cost much more than a Switch OLED at the moment.
No, it's only in the UK you're talking a difference of a tenner.
So, you know what I mean? That's not too bad.
Pretty good deal, if you ask me. All in all, though, Scott, so is this something that you are going to purchase? Not day one, but is it something you're just going to purchase generally?
Something I will purchase in general, probably, yeah. Like, I think that as a parent, it feels like, a slam dunk to have a Switch in the house, because it's quintessential childhood console, but it's not one that I'm aching to get out and play day one. Like Mario Kart Worlds is still going to be there in 6 months' time when I've not bought it. I love Donkey Kong, but I'm not entirely convinced in this game. And it kind of feels like, the onus being on all the games that you can play on this console. Like here's all the titles that you could play on this console are games that I've either already played or can play on my PS5 or Xbox. So why would I choose to play it on Switch? The only things that are driving me are potentially playing Tears of the Kingdom at a higher frame rate, playing Soul Calibur 2 on Switch Online. And seriously, that's probably it. If I'm being truthfully honest with you, like there's nothing else there that I thought, holy God, I need to do this. Like, there's a couple other things on there, like Tony Hawk's, for example, perfect game for a Switch, I think. It kind of feels like having that in your hands is excellent. But apart from those 2, maybe 3 games in Witchbrook, I'm not entirely convinced at the moment. Like, I think if it launched with a Zelda, like a proper new Zelda or a new Mario, then like Mario, 3D title, then I'd have probably jumped in. But for the moment, at least, I'm not that arsed. And if the Dustbloods isn't going to come out till 2026, then I don't need to buy it till then anyway.
Well, that's true. I mean, for me, it's a day one, so I've managed to secure a pre-order on it prior to recording. Smiths in the UK, the toy shop, had managed to put up pre-orders early, and was on that, like a wet trackie sticking to it. So I was like, yep, I'll take that. So that eliminates the pre-order bun fight next week for me, which I'm quite happy for. And no, I'm excited for it for all those reasons you listed, like just to share that with the kids, and just to kind of invest and know that this might be their first really big console. Like for me, it's, as a parent, as a gamer, I'm looking at this purely as more of a handheld investment. And I'll tell you why in a second. Hold on.
He's coughing, everyone.
Yep, it was a bad one. For me, it's like the Nintendo stuff is getting me in there day one, but it's the third party things like Cyberpunk and all that, that I'll buy and play again. Tony Hawk's, as you mentioned, Elden Ring. You know what I mean?
I just don't see a universe where I want to play Elden Ring on a Switch. Like it doesn't look anywhere near as good as it does on my PlayStation 5 or something. Do you know what I mean? Like, well,
if you're playing it handheld, you're not going to notice it. You're not going to notice it at that level. It was like playing Dark Souls Remastered on the Switch. It's like I couldn't really tell the difference. Like they both look like shit.
Well, yeah. Elden Ring doesn't. Do you know what I mean? Like Elden Ring normally doesn't look terrible. I don't know. I don't know what the buy-in point is for me. Like Soul Calibur 2, 100%. Like I am almost like jumping knee first into this console, but I don't know what the game is. It's going to be like I need to buy it for that. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean,
this is the game that I need to go out and get for it.
It will happen. It will happen. For me, I think the big one I'm most looking forward to, oddly, is still Hades 2. And it serves that purpose of like I'm wanting a bespoke handheld, even though it's a hybrid console, but this looks like it's got the juice and it delivers it, and I think it can deliver third party in a way that the original Switch couldn't. Which is making me excited. So that's why I'm like, I'm gonna invest in this, and obviously for the integrity of the podcast, you know, the parents out there, parent gamers must know, and that's my excuse.
They need to know.
I'm sticking to it. They need to know. Sticking to it, but
it makes sense. It makes sense.
I do have a theory, though. I do have a theory that one last thing that I want to share before we wrap things up is that I think that with the odd pricing of the games and the clear online capabilities of this console, plus the economic situation, I feel that Nintendo are going to do their own version of Game Pass with just their exclusives. And that will happen at some point in this generation to get people in. It won't be cheap. It won't be expensive. But I think that that's how they're going to meet people halfway. I think they're going to offer something in a very weird Nintendo way. It's not going to be as like cut and dry as Game Pass.
Game Pass.
I can see this happening.
I don't see it from Nintendo. I don't see it. They've not.
Version.
They've not. Yeah. I don't see it. I really don't.
I can see them starting to dip a toe in it with the Switch games. So say things like Tears of the Kingdom and all that.
Yeah.
And then eventually, I think they'll take that gambit that way. Like I says, they'll do weird Nintendo shit with it. And then you might start to see, like after year 1 or year 2, we've added Donkey Kong Bonanza. We've added like Mario Kart World after it's like a couple of years old. It won't be like a day one Game Pass type deal. Because let's face it, you get Game Pass at the top, you got PlayStation Plus underneath it, which does its own weird shit. And then Nintendo are going to find some type of weird shit to do underneath it. But I think that they know. I think if you're a Nintendo, an Xbox, or PlayStation, you know that if you want to continually make that money, a subscription model isn't a bad idea to go, especially now when you've got these bright orange grifters just kind of ruining the world economy just because they've got kind of small D syndrome. So it's, you know, it is what it is. That's just my prediction. It's a wild one, but I thought I would chuck that in there just food for thought. And if it happens, then I want to be known as Mystic Meg. There we go. So that gives you my likelihood.
You'll be. Yeah, I think that there's a place there for it. And I think if we were talking about anyone else but Nintendo, then I would probably be inclined to agree with you. But it's Nintendo. Yeah. Well, that's my rebuttal for this whole thing. It's Nintendo.
It's Nintendo. As indeed.
Yeah, that's just how I'll leave it like that.
Oh well, that's a good a point as any to end it on. So that's all from Pixel Reacts and the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct. What did you make of the show? Are you going to be picking up a Switch 2 at launch? Were you happy with the announcements? Let us know on Blue Sky at pixelparents.bsky.social or write to us at pixelparentspodcast@gmail.com. If you like what you hear, leave a 5-star review, and for more, you can listen to the Pixel Parents podcast every week on your podcast platform of choice, where we discuss the world of gaming from the perspective of parents. But until next time, stay safe, stay sane, and thanks for listening.
Goodbye.